I adored my papa. He was always doing something to make me laugh. All papa had to do to get me to cackle was say Piggly Wiggly or Beanie Weenie. I would scream with laughter every time. Now my papa, he had many talents, but being a handyman was not one of them. He had his own special way of fixing things, but he was a creative problem solver. The year I got my driver's license, Papa bought an old Ford. It was a black 1950 Ford. There was nothing automatic about it, and it leaked a lot of oil. No one paid any attention to that car. Papa got it for a song. It was 23 years old, and he only used it to drive to and from work. Well, I fell in love with that car. I loved how the horn made that old-timey sound. Awooga! I loved how the clock on the dash stopped working at 4:27. It was 3 on the column, and the blinkers did not work. I wanted to move on with my driving skills. I wanted to learn how to drive that car. And when I said I wanted to drive the Ford, my mama yelled, "Not until those blinkers are working." So Papa had a repair job in front of him. He wasn't going to spend any more money on the Ford. He was going to solve that problem using only the materials he already had. When you were seated behind the wheel of that car, you had to straddle an exposed column. It started way down by the gas pedal. It went all the way up to the steering wheel. Papa's solution to the blinker situation was to weld a small platform onto that column within arm's reach. And for the blinkers, he used a tiny little on and off switch, the kind you would find on a table lamp. If you needed the right blinker, you had to use the switch. Now, you couldn't just turn the switch on. If you did that, there wouldn't be any blinking involved. No, you had to work that switch. The problem was, Papa only had one of those switches. He still needed a solution for the left blinker. But what Papa did have out in his garage was an old doorbell. It was rusted in a couple of spots. It looked like it was made in the 1930s. That thing was old. Papa attached the doorbell to the platform. When you needed the left blinker, you had to press the doorbell. You couldn't just press it. You had to press it over and over. And of course there was sound. Bzzzt, bzzzt. Making it turn in that car, it was so difficult to do. There was nothing automatic about the Ford. It took every ounce of my strength just to turn the wheel. So when I needed to make a right turn, I would come to a full stop, and I'd get that blinker going. You had to have rhythm to make that work. Then I'd shift it into first gear to get the car to move forward. Then I had to let out on the clutch. At the same time, I was pressing down on the gas pedal. You had to be coordinated. You needed skills to drive this car. Then I would try the turn, but I'd always end up on the other side of the street in the ditch. Well, I was determined to drive that Ford. The only solution I could come up with, it was going to take 2 people to drive that car. So I got my little sister Mary to help.